Using Punnett squares to determine the probability that organisms will have certain traits is quite easy. Let's follow this tutorial and figure out how we use Punnett squares to solve for this. The first thing that we need to do is understand what the genotypes of the parents will be. For instance, I could have a parent that's heterozygous, meaning they have a dominant allele and a recessive allele. And they could be mating with a parent that is homozygous recessive, so they have two recessive alleles. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put the alleles for one of those parents over the top of the Punnett square and one to the left of the Punnett square. Now, what we're going to do is actually just separate the letters over the boxes. And so that was the first parent, and then we're going to put the second parent to the left. It honestly does not matter which parent you put on the top or on the side. The results will still come out the same anyways. But what we've done here is we've actually shown that if the top was the male parent, these are the options for its sperm. And on the side, these are the options for the female parent's eggs. Now in fertilization, the sperm fuses with the egg and we create an offspring. So we're going to show that in each of the four boxes of the Punnett square. We do this by combining the letters of the sperm and the egg. So it works like graphing. We just take each of the quadrants and combine them. So this capital A here would end up in the first box, and this lowercase a would end up in the second box. Let's try the next top box here. So the sperms A and the eggs A end up in that box there. See if you can figure out the rest before me. But we're going to take the sperm from the first box and the egg from our bottom box here. And lastly, we should have two lowercase a's. And that's how you solve Punnett squares. Now, when we're looking at this, we're actually looking at a probability out of 4 that a certain trait will occur. So if I was asking you, what's the probability of having offspring that are heterozygous? We know that there are 2 boxes with heterozygous genotypes. That is a 2 out of 4 probability. Well, you could just say there is a 2 out of 4 chance of having heterozygous offspring. Or you could reduce this to 1/2 and say that there's a 1/2 chance of having heterozygous offspring. Finally, you could convert this to a percentage. You could say that there is a 50% chance of having heterozygous offspring. And that's how we're going to be using Punnett squares in our lesson.